What about the Champions League? Not a whole lot of CONCACAF representation still left. However, there is Alphonso Davies with Bayern Munich, who advanced past Arsenal after a 1-0 win in the second leg in Munich on Wednesday. Now, Davies didn't play. He was on a yellow card suspension. But the result does set up a tasty little showdown with Real Madrid, who Davies, of course, has been heavily linked to over the last months. Herc, how in the world is this going to go? And do you think these games have any impact over a potential move for Davies to Real Madrid?
Ooh. Listen, the only way it has an impact on Alphonso Davies going to Real Madrid is if it is catastrophic. If there is a disaster masterclass for Alphonso Davies, if it just looks like, what are we doing here for Real Madrid? Because this is the worst kept secret, I think, in all of football. Everybody knows this is going to happen. I think Bayern Munich knows it's bound to happen. He's going to end up at Real Madrid. The only way there is any type of effect that this sways Florentino Perez, this sways the powers that be at Real Madrid from even looking at Alphonso Davies' direction, is if he's just terrible. Now, he's not been lights out this season, or sometimes even great. He's actually struggled some this season. But for him not to have that move transpire with Real Madrid, he would have to be, I am talking about catastrophic. It would have to be lights out, the worst player on the field type of a performance.
Yeah. Producer Beto and I were talking about this before, and it would be crazy for a team to do all the scouting that you've assumed Real Madrid has done on a player, and then over 90 minutes or 180 minutes change that decision. However, if it were to go really bad, I do think, it could have some effect. Maybe Florentino Perez, who seems to be somewhat of an emotional character, says, this guy's not ready for Real Madrid. Maybe if it goes really well, Bayern Munich is emboldened, right? Either to keep him or to maybe hold out for a little bit more money. That could scuttle the transfer. Also, if it goes really bad, the fans might turn on him, which even if Florentino Perez doesn't, when he comes, he could arrive at Real Madrid under a cloud. But I think it's just going to be awkward because, as you said, other than Kylian Mbappe, which I think is actually the worst kept secret in world football, this is a really poorly kept secret. It's going to be in Davies' head. It's probably going to be in Mendy's head too, right? Because he's saying, hey, I'm playing against the guy who's, in theory, going to come to take my job. And I just wonder, Herc, if in that first leg, how surprised you would be if maybe Bayern Munich didn't start Alphonso Davies. One, in part because of what's happening here with the transfer, but also the old adage that we always hear, which is a team that wins repeats. They just got the job done against Arsenal. By the way, they kept a clean sheet, which they didn't do in the first leg with Davies in the lineup.
That had more to do with Arsenal.
Could you see a possibility where Davies doesn't start, or do you think he's got to go in this first leg for Bayern Munich?
I think he's got to go in the first leg for Bayern Munich because of what he provides for you defensively in terms of just that groundbreaking speed. And if you look at what Real Madrid does so well, they do so well in transition. They got players who can really, really hurt you. And a la Kyle Walker and that sense of player for Man City and how he could clean up a few of the messes that they got themselves into. I think Alphonso Davies is that player with his speed for Bayern Munich. And I think Thomas Tuchel understands this, that's the type of team that he's going to face in the Champions League semifinal. Because of that reason and that reason alone, I think we're going to see Alphonso Davies. But you're right. The adage is, team that wins repeats. And this is a player who's kind of been, I wouldn't say up and down, but not shown his best this season. But I just think he's too much of a supreme athlete to be left out against a team like Real Madrid.
Bayern Munich, Real Madrid. What a matchup we have coming our way in the Champions League semifinals.